Metropolitan areas. Recently I did a few videos concerning the population trends in several US metropolitan areas. However, I noticed that there was yet and still a bit of confusion by some viewers as to what exactly a metro area is, how they're defined, and a general understanding of where different metros rank relative to one another. You still had some people claiming Houston and San Antonio are larger than Dallas, San Jose is part of the San Francisco metro and such. So this video is going to be an informational one. Not only will we go over exactly what a metropolitan area is in the United States, but I'll also explain how the US Census Bureau comes up with and defines these areas, as well as break down the top 10 largest metro areas in the United States and why so many Americans choose to live in them. Hit that like button, subscribe if you love the content, and let's talk about some metro areas, not city limit populations. First things first, what is a metro area? Well, the U.S. Census uses the term metropolitan statistical area to delineate urban regions centered around a core city or cities that share common economic ties. It uses counties or county equivalents and how residents in outlying counties commute in and out of the core counties to determine which counties are part of a metro area. Municipal boundaries, aka city limits, are pretty much irrelevant in the determination of metro areas, except in cases where a city has consolidated with its surrounding county, or a place like Virginia, which has its bizarre independent cities as equivalents with counties. This gives a more accurate view of the true size of an area due to the ability, or lack thereof, in some cities to annex larger geographic territory compared to others. A good example of this being Jacksonville and Miami in Florida, where Jacksonville merged with Duval County to have a very large geographical area, whereas Miami has a small municipal boundaries, but is a significantly larger actual area. The metropolitan statistical area is not without its flaws in its own right, as you do get some situations such as San Bernardino and Riverside counties in California that are massive in land area, to where you end up with some rural, desolate areas on the eastern side of the metro being included in what will otherwise simply be considered rural if the counties were smaller in area. You also get some situations like the Triangle area in North Carolina, where Durham and Chapel Hill were split from Raleigh due to not meeting the commuting requirements, as Durham County contains the Research Triangle Park and has its own job center outside of Raleigh, despite the area having other ties outside of commuting patterns. But overall, this is the most accurate measure of the true size of urban areas in America, so let's get to the list. In 10th place on the list of the largest U.S. metros is Boston, officially named the Boston, Cambridge, Newton, Massachusetts, New Hampshire metro area. In 2020, the Boston area had a population of 4,941,632, up from 4,552,402, or 3.7% in 2010. The greater Boston area is a traditional style metro with the city of Boston at the center, and other anchor cities, Newton and Cambridge, just outside of it. Boston is one of the few metros in the U.S. that has multiple interstate beltways in the form of I-95 and I-495 around the city. Why do people love Boston? Boston has some of America's top educational institutions in Harvard and MIT. It has a nice strategic location on the Atlantic coast, strong cultural offerings, and one of the better public transportation systems in the U.S. It also has an extensive ring of suburbs for those who want access to the city without necessarily living in the big city. Greater Boston holds over 60% of the entire state of Massachusetts population, so it's safe to say that the folks in New England love this area. Coming in at 9th on the list is the unofficial capital of the South, Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta is officially called the Atlanta, Sandy Springs, Roswell metro area. In 2020, the Atlanta metro area has 6,104,803 people, up 15.2% from the 2010 population of 5,286,728. Atlanta is in a strategic location central to most of the southeastern U.S. It is the crossroads of 3 major interstate highways, I-75, I-85, and I-20, along with its infamous perimeter highway, I-285. Its MARTA transit network serves the core counties of Fulton and DeKalb, but it is quite limited in effectiveness due to being inaccessible to a large percentage of the population in outlying counties. Speaking of which, Atlanta is a metro area that is basically unimpeded by geography. It is free to spread and sprawl as far as the eye can see, and it has done just that. Why do people love Atlanta? The job market is robust. The food and culture is top-notch, as you got a wide range of diverse cultures inhabiting various parts of the metro. The cost of living is low, at least relative to the Northeast, where many transplants are moving from. Those with families are snatching up single-family homes like candy in the northern suburbs, while many younger transplants are flocking to some of the city's core neighborhoods. Atlanta is also home to the busiest airport in the world in Hartsfield-Jackson, which offers flights to pretty much any American city, and international flights all over the world. In 8th place on the list is another southern metro, and that is Miami, Florida. Miami is officially called the Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach metro area. In 2020, the Miami area had a population of 6,138,333, up 10.3% from the 2010 population of 5,564,635. Miami has a unique geographical layout, with most of its urbanized area being sandwiched between the Atlantic Ocean to the east and the Florida Everglades to the west. In fact, it is second only to the New York metro as the longest in the United States. Miami is by far the largest, most significant, and dominant city in the metro. But the two other anchor cities of Fort Lauderdale and West Palm Beach also boast urban, active downtown areas of their own. Driving up Florida A1A, you'll see a seemingly endless amount of beaches covered by condominiums, hotels, and such. The Miami area's dominant method of transportation is Interstate 95, which hugs the coastline and is used by pretty much everyone to get around the area. Brightline offers a privately owned passenger rail service that travels between Miami and West Palm Beach and has recently opened an extension up to Orlando for those looking to avoid the insanity of I-95. Why do Americans love Miami? The nightlife, the beaches, the beautiful people, year-round warm weather, sunshine, and palm trees. What's not to love? When the rest of the country is freezing in December, you can wear your shorts and sandals in South Florida. Miami is probably the largest metro in America where you can live and walk outside and feel like you're on a vacation. Just make sure that your finances are in order before coming. Beauty cost. The 7th largest American metro is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, officially called the Philadelphia, Camden, Wilmington metro area. In 2020, Philadelphia had a population of 6,245,051, up 4.7% from the 2010 population of 5,965,343. Philadelphia is a tri-state metro with many suburbs located in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Delaware. The metro centers around the very urban, historic city of Philadelphia, with the anchor city of Camden directly across the Delaware River, and Wilmington further south in the state of Delaware. Philadelphia boasts excellent north-south mobility with not only I-95, but also I-295 and the famous New Jersey Turnpike traversing the metro. East-west mobility is more limited, with the dangerous, outdated, inferior Schuylkill Expressway being the primary option. Public transit in Philadelphia is one of the better options in the states, owned and operated by its SEPTA agency, with several rail and bus routes across the region. Americans like living in Philadelphia for the urban and big city amenities, its cultural offerings, and its fantastic food offerings. Philadelphia is also one of the more affordable large metros in the United States, especially among the northeastern metros. At number 6, we have the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., officially called the Washington, Arlington, Alexandria metro area, unofficially called the DMV for D.C., Maryland, Virginia. In 2020, the Washington area had a population of 6,278,542, which was up 13.3% from the 2010 population of 5,636,232. Washington is centered around the special capital district called the District of Columbia and contains a vast spread of suburbs that stretch as far as West Virginia to the west and blends in with Baltimore to the north. Alexandria and Arlington function as core cities, though Arlington is technically a county thanks to Virginia's strange municipal divisions. One thing of note about the Washington area is the large amount of people who live in unincorporated areas, particularly in Fairfax and Prince George counties. Fairfax County, for example, has well over 1 million people, but only 3 incorporated towns, the largest of which is Herndon with only 24,000 people. In terms of roadways, the DC area underperforms with I-95 providing north-south mobility and the often congested Capitol Beltway forming a loop around the city. I-66 and US 50 move east-west traffic, with I-270 providing access between the Beltway and the transcontinental I-70 to the northwest. The DC Metro system, however, somewhat makes up for that, as it is one of the better public transit options in the US. Why do people love living in the DC area? Well, the top reason is the job market. The largest employer by far in America is right here, the one with an unlimited budget, the federal government. The DC area has several of the wealthiest communities in the country, and it is a place to be to make money. Diverse cultural options are also abundant, great food, the most highly educated populace in the country, and its strategic location between the Northeast and the Southeast all make DC a very desirable area. Halfway through the list at number 5, we have Houston, Texas, officially the Houston, Pasadena, Woodlands metro area. In 2020, the greater Houston area had a population of 7,187,000 122,240, a whopping 20.3% increase from 2010 when it had 5,920,416 residents. Houston might be the most classic example of a concentric traditional metro layout of any on this list. It centers around downtown Houston with multiple highway loops circling the core city and its suburbs. Interstates 10, 45, and recently I-69 crisscross the downtown area. The core city of Pasadena is located between the I-610 loop and its middle loop, the Sam Houston Tollway. While the Woodlands, technically not an actual city, but rather a special district and census-designated place, lies far to the north, just outside of Houston's third loop, the Grand Parkway. The Houston Metro is massive in land area, over 10,000 square miles, larger than some U.S. states such as New Jersey. It sprawls for a vast length. It can take you hours to cross the Houston Metro even in ideal traffic conditions. Houston is also the second largest metro in the South, only behind its other Texas neighbor to the north. Why do people love Houston? The cost of living? Very reasonable compared to the Northeast and the West Coast. Big city amenities? A very diverse population, possibly the most diverse on this list. The fantastic food options that blanket the area. You'll never run out of new places to eat in the Houston area. The job market is very robust, with many large corporations paying nice salaries located in this area. Houston also has favorable weather with its mild winters for the many Americans looking to escape colder climates. Another reason people move to the Houston area is its vast offerings of suburban living. Houston has basically unimpeded land to sprawl, and you can find a countless number of expanding suburban style developments surrounding the city. And we all know Americans love their suburbs. Still in Texas, at number 4 is the Dallas-Fort Worth area, officially the Dallas-Fort Worth-Arlington metro area. In 2020, the DFW boasted 7,637,387 people, up 18.8% from the 2010 population of 6,426,214. Dallas-Fort Worth is unique in that it is the only binodal metro on this list, with Dallas being the main primary city, but Fort Worth forming a second core node to the west. This makes the DFW the largest metro in the southern United States. In big Texas fashion, the DFW boasts a massive network of highways encircling and crisscrossing all over the area. You can find some of the highest highway stacks in the country, high urban speed limits, and a very unique express lane system that can move you quickly through the area, for a small fee of course. In terms of transit, Dallas contains the nation's largest light rail network with this DART system. But ironically, the centrally located city of Arlington, which contains major attractions such as AT&T Stadium and Six Flags Over Texas, along with a population of over 400,000, has zero public transit. I mean, not even a bus service. If you like suburban living and driving, then Dallas-Fort Worth is top tier. But if you're more of a transit type person, you'll need to live near the light rail, or look for some other metros on this list. Why do Americans love Dallas and Fort Worth? The reasons are similar to Houston. Lots of well-paying jobs, low cost of living, no state income tax, vast amounts of affordable suburban living options stretching all the way up to Van Alstyne. People are flocking to this area to capture their American dream home. Dallas is also centrally located in the country with a major airport that provides easy, quick access to both the East and the West Coast. On to the top 3. These all should be quite familiar in both name and order to most people. At number 3, we go to the Midwest, where we have Chicago, Illinois. The Chicago metro area is officially named Chicago, Naperville, Elgin, Illinois, Indiana. The Chicago area had a 2020 population of 9,618,502, which is up 1.66% from the 2010 population of 9,461,105. Unofficially called Chicagoland, it stretches over a vast area to the west and includes parts of Indiana as well. Chicago sits at a nice strategic position on the shores of Lake Michigan, boasting a beautiful skyline with stunning architecture, the birthplace of the skyscraper. Chicago has both a very expansive roadway network as well as a robust transit system, several walkable urban neighborhoods, and a large, well-organized grid-style pattern of development. It contains one of the busiest airports in the world, at Chicago O'Hare. Core metro cities of Aurora, Elgin, and Naperville stretch far to the west and have their own downtowns as well as vast options of suburban single-family homes. The Chicago area completely dominates the state of Illinois, despite not being the seat of government. As goes Chicago, so goes Illinois. Why do Americans like living in the Chicago area? Where do we start? The incredible architecture, the culture, the beautiful lakefront, that is completely accessible to the public. Some of the best urban style living outside of New York itself. Beaches in the summer, the large amount of colleges and universities, the food, the sports culture, museums, you name it. This place has nearly everything, as long as you can deal with the cold winters, of course. There's always something to do in the Chicago area. In fact, as I'm making this video, I'm in Chicago visiting myself, and I must say that the area is quite stunning. Number 2 is Los Angeles, California. Officially, Los Angeles, Long Beach, Anaheim, California. This is where we take a huge leap in size from the previous position. In 2020, the Los Angeles area had a population of 13,200,998. Nearly 3 million more than third place Chicago. LA's 2020 population was a 2.9% increase from the 2010 population of 12,828,837. Contrary to popular belief, the official Los Angeles Metro only includes Los Angeles and Orange counties. Riverside and San Bernardino counties are their own separate metro, as is Ventura County. Los Angeles is also another metro with a vast amount of sprawling suburbs. Though it is somewhat limited geographically by various mountain ranges, the Los Angeles basin has been developed pretty much everywhere that's possible in the area. When driving around the LA area, if you don't look at your GPS or check the signage, you might not even realize when you've driven out of one city and into another. Los Angeles is the land of freeways, with tons of miles of them crossing all over the area, the 405 being among the busiest in the Americas. Why do Americans love Los Angeles? A big reason is the weather. Southern California rarely gets rain, rarely experiences extreme heat or extreme cold, a climate that's unmatched in the rest of the country. This makes it a great place for people who love outdoors activities. Los Angeles is also the entertainment capital of not only America, but the entire world. The home of Hollywood, and many in the entertainment industry call this area home. Los Angeles has the natural beauty as well, with both mountains and beaches contained within this metro area. Los Angeles is another metro area where there are basically unlimited options and things to do. One thing's for sure is that you will never be bored in Los Angeles. And the largest metro area in the United States of America, to no one's surprise, number 1 by quite a margin, is none other than New York City. Officially the New York, Newark, Jersey City metro area. In 2020, it had a whopping 20,081,935 people, almost 7 million more than second place Los Angeles. The New York metro area grew 6.6% from its 2010 population of 18,897,109. New York City itself is known for its very high density and urban fabric. However, when looking at the metro area as a whole, it covers a vast area stretching as far as Pennsylvania. It contains the majority of New Jersey's population, the entirety of Long Island, as well as much of the state of Connecticut. On the mass transit front, the New York Metro boasts the largest, most comprehensive system in the United States. The core city contains the largest subway system in the US. Various regional and commuter rails crisscross the city and reach all throughout its suburbs and into New Jersey and Connecticut, with everything centered around and radiating from Manhattan. Over 1/3 of all U.S. transit use takes place in the New York area. Relative to population, the New York metro area has one of the smaller highway networks. This, combined with the geography of the area and multiple bridge and tunnel bottlenecks, means it's going to be quite painful to drive around this metro area. Not to mention the tolls that are everywhere, and coming soon, more tolls in the form of congestion pricing for those hoping to drive into the city. Other anchor cities of Newark and Jersey City across the river are quite urban in their own right, though New York and Manhattan specifically dominates the area. Suburban style living in the New York metro is available on Long Island, in Westchester County, in Connecticut, and further south into New Jersey for a hefty price, I might add. So why do Americans love New York? What makes over 20 million Americans call this region home? Well, the first reason is economic. If America is the land of opportunity, then New York is the shining beacon of that opportunity. New York is the financial, cultural, and international trade capital of the United States, home to a large amount of major corporations and institutions. The cost of living is higher in this area, but the pay from the jobs also scales up much higher with that cost. New York is also the gateway to legal immigration into the United States. Basically, if you want to make money, then you want to be in the New York City area. The metro has top Ivy League universities, some of the wealthiest communities in the country, and some of the most stunning, iconic architecture in the world. For Americans looking for a highly urban, fast-paced lifestyle, there is no place like New York City. This is the one place where you can truly live without a car. Other reasons to come to the New York area: the food, the arts, the museums, nightlife, the music, you name it, New York has it. Just about every amenity imaginable can be found in the New York metro. If there's something you like about another metro, the New York area probably has more of it, except peace and quiet, of course. Looking at the numbers, New York City won't be knocked from its top spot anytime soon, if ever. Now that we have the list completed, a few things of note. 5 of the top 10 largest metros are in the southern United States. 3 are in the Northeast, 1 in the Midwest, and 1 on the West Coast. Though some might debate whether or not Washington, D.C. is in the South, it certainly does feel more northern to me. The metros in the Northeast are older, more dense, and more transit-friendly, while the southern metros are more sprawling in nature, newer, with a lot more suburban-style development, with bigger, wider highways and smaller transit networks. Most of the growth by far is in the southern metros, but they have quite a ways to go before overtaking the top 3. Though Chicago might need to watch out for those Texas metros soon to be on its heels. Overall, the top 10 metros in this list contain over 26% of the total U.S. population. And there you have it, folks. America's 10 largest metro areas, not city limits, and why Americans love them. Do any of the positions on this list surprise you? Do you see any of the positions of the top 10 changing by the 2030 census? Would you, or do you, live in any of these metro areas? Or do you prefer something smaller? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one, coming soon to a town near you.